Hello, Wayfarers. So, welcome in for this particular stream. This is a one-off special stream. I will periodically try to check the Twitch chat as we go, but I will be focusing mostly on the screen. If you do have any questions that you want to send to me directly, you can ping me on Discord or put them in the Twitch chat. I will try and respond as we go, but this is just a little streaming guide and a little bit of a tutorial on setting up the new virtual tabletop. It's in early access at the moment of TaleSpire. So I recently purchased this. I'm really liking it and how it goes. And so I wanted to kind of show you guys a bit about it and how it all works and how to put it all together. So let us just go and jump straight on in. So you get your kind of title page here. You can adjust the volume of the music quite easily there. But at the bottom here we've got our little begin logo, and that's what we're going to do. So I did already start a thing with my Tyranny game, but we're just going to create a new campaign. I'm going to call this test. I may actually end up using what I create here. In an actual game, because I've got a bunch of campaigns that I run at the moment, so I'm going to build maps that I intend to use. Whether or not I actually use them will be a thing. So you create your list of campaigns here. So this is just our test campaign. It's never been played. I am the owner, and it lists the other players, because you can add players into the games like any VTT. The one big downside of this particular one is if you are wanting to run a campaign through this, everyone in your game has to have a copy of it, which means that you have to have a copy, which means everyone has to buy it. It is a one-off payment, and it's less than £20, so it's not the worst thing that everyone has to buy it, but it is a bit of a thing that you can't just have people join your game if one person owns it, which you can do on Foundry, and of course Roll20 does have its own thing. So this is kind of how it looks when you kind of log in, and you can see you can adjust an angle, because this is a three-dimensional thing. So there are a few bits to kind of go through here. So the first thing is these tabs on the left-hand side, and so up here you've got your role, and you can change between being a GM and a player, but we're looking mostly at the GM thing here. First thing you got is your boards, and these are your basically where you create all your individual battle maps. So we currently are on Unknown Realm 1, but you can of course like add new boards, and I think you can change the names on it. I have no idea where you actually go to do that. I've only had this a short while, but it's Unknown Board 1, that's what we're on at the moment, and that's fine. We don't need to do anything else. If you want to add a new one, you just add Create New Board, and it does press Spacebar to open menus, and you go into your boards, and it's got Unknown Realm 2, but we're going to delete that one, and type in delete, because we don't need multiple boards just at this very second. So we are going to be on board 1, because that's what we want. Press spacebar to open menus. So boards, we've got campaign and board settings. So different creatures and stuff have different stats. You can change the name of the stats here. You can change the board's surface color to fit whatever you want to have your thing look like. If you want to do something like, oh, this is like a grassy thing, a water, a desert, a snow. But I'm going to stick with just the default grey stone. For the most part, we won't be even using this bottom anyway. All of the creatures, all the minis in this have their own stats, but you can actually customize what stat means what, which is pretty great. It gives you a huge amount of freedom and autonomy there. The distance, so the distance is done typically in tiles, but you could potentially do feet, and the tile size is 5 feet. And then what that means is when you use your ruler tools down here, for example, to do an area of effect, you can see, oh look, this is a area of effect of 20 feet, and that there is the area of effect of a fireball, for example. So you can play around with those. We'll go into the rulers a bit later. So the next thing is the list of players. Obviously, I do not have any players in this game at the moment. You can summon players to this board, so you can obviously go to a board and then do your setup and then bring all your players over whilst you're in game. You don't have to all move to the board each time. You get your invite code, which you can send to people. There are a list of tutorials, which are incredibly helpful and actually really, really well done. I do quite like those. And the final one, and kind of the biggest one, and we'll go just face north, because we've got a little compass here which tells us which direction we're facing, is our atmosphere setting. And I love this thing because you could do a lot with it. You can have the time of day change so that we're, you know, middle of the day, middle of the night, sort of sunset, sunrise. It's pretty great. I actually have no idea what this dial does. It doesn't really seem to do a huge amount. You can actually create blocks that change those modes as you go. If you want to, like, just rather than go through and fix every single different setting, you can actually create blocks that just change all of the settings at once and just drop them in as you go, and that's kind of really cool as well. You have music and ambient sounds and effects volumes, because you could do a bunch of different sounds. And this first one we're going to be building a sewer, and as you see, we start that up and we get some nice sewery sound effects. And then there's a bunch of music which is built in, which has got really great stuff. And this atmosphere setting, it fixed to this battle map. So you can fix different sound effects and ambient sounds and musics to different battle boards, to your different maps. And as you change between them, it will by default change with you, which is really, really great. We're just going to stick... I'm going to turn the sound effects off. We are going to be doing a sewer, but whilst I'm creating, I don't particularly want to have a huge amount of noise going on in the background. Have a little bit of a drink because there's quite a bit of stuff to talk about, and I don't want to lose my voice because I've got a game tonight. So the next thing you got here is a fog multiplier. So you can actually bring in fog, which reduces visibility on the map, which is kind of fun. And you can adjust that to whatever you want. You can have higher and lower levels of exposure to change out the light cycle. You can also add different effects. For example, if you wanted to create an effect that was kind of a bit warmer, you can literally just turn up the warmth, or you can bleach it out, and like there's just a whole bunch of really cool stuff. You can make something green if you like, if you want to do like a swampy thing. If you wanted to make something like a really frozen texture, you could just add a frozen effect to it. If you want to do something that's got like a kind of enchanted Feywild field, you can add an enchanted effect to it. There's a whole bunch of really cool stuff there. And all this, you just click apply to game board, which at the moment is kind of pointless because I haven't actually changed anything. But that's the kind of real basics of how to do all of the atmosphere stuff, which I really love in this game. In this tabletop. I call it a game because you buy it on Steam. So I may call it a game a few times, but I don't think that's technically right. Here, you can rename the board up here. So we're going to call this one Sewer, because that's what we're going to be doing today. As you can see at the bottom, there are dice in this tabletop that you can use, and you can just go ahead and roll a whole bunch of dice, and it will tell you what each dice got, and all that comes up. And anyway, don't really particularly want the dice right now, so we can just remove those. To do that, you just right-click on them and select remove. The actual, I don't know how big these things are, but they're pretty huge. So you can really build some big maps on this thing. If you're in play, there's like an exploration mode. There's a turn-based mode where you put in the initiative passes. There's also a cutscene mode. This is, so when you're in a game, you can grab cutscene shots and give those, like display those to your players before you're ready to show them the full map. And the last thing we're going to look at is these little switches and levers on the side here, because there's a few different things that we do. The first thing we want to do, we want to go into build mode, because that unlocks the last one. So we've got this green one at the top, we've got this orange one here, we've got this white one, and we've got this blue one. The blue one, most straightforward, that adds water to the map, and you can flood your map and do whole things underwater. So if you want to have like a water layer on your map, it gives this really cool water effect that you can build upon. This white one here, this changes the height at which your camera view is. And this orange one here, this controls the build height of where you're building, and you can actually turn on the grid here, and you can see the grid is locked to the ground, but if I raise that up, it raises the grid up, and the grid can actually go up and above where our point of view is. And what this green one does here is not super applicable out of play, but it is applicable when we start getting into when we get into play. You can also add lights and build water, which is really cool. Yeah, so when you're out of play, you can basically adjust this to see what layer you're on. So for example, if you build a multi-story building, you could just slide this up and down to switch between the floors of the building, which is very, very handy. So let's go into the more kind of fun part of this, the actual construction part. So we open up our library at the bottom. There is also a color dropper thing, which you can use if you've got an item that you just want to replicate. You can select that. But you've got three menus on the side here. You've got the build menu, you've got the minis menu for your monsters and characters, and then you have the decorative menu, which has all the decorations and stuff. So we're going to start off with the build menu, and as you can see, there's a list of different subcategories here. So there's a bunch of stuff if you want to build a castle. There's a ruin castle. There's caverns. There are cobblestones. There's a desert village. There are doors. There's dungeon, harbor, merchant, Morgoth, which is like a gothic kind of setting. So if you're doing something with like a gothic feel to it, you can do that. There are nature tiles, so you can actually just build like a battle map out in the wilderness. There is Palisade, which is like if you build like a stronghold or a fortress that has wooden structures and walls, so like a barbarian camp or something like that, you can use the palisades to create the boundaries on those. If you like drop those in, you can see stuff like that, and then you can also drop on top of them the kind of higher section, and that kind of becomes part of the structure, as you can see. Just get rid of all those. So there's a ruined temple, which has some cool stuff. There's a rural setting, which is like if you're making like a long house or a halfway house or something like that. There's the tavern, so you can build taverns in this as well, which has got some really cool stuff. But the one we're looking at today is the sewer, which we are going to start taking a peek at. So the first thing I want to do, as we are creating a sewer, is I want to get a lower level, which is going to be our flooded level. Now, if you want to adjust certain things, like you can adjust the height of which you build by holding Control and shifting, or you can hold Alt and Shift around, literally just moving the mouse around, and that will do that will kind of adjust that. You can also move around by using the WASD keys and the Q and E keys to rotate. Alternatively, you can right click and drag, or you can click in the mouse wheel and drag to move around like this. Clicking and dragging doesn't do that, because what that will do is lay down like a whole line of things, which we don't currently want. But it's all pretty intuitive, so I would like to start. I'm going to build just our first sewer tunnel. I'm going to build an access staircase, and then we're just going to build a line of columns there, and then we're going to build a line of columns there. Then we have like a bit of a, actually I didn't want those to be out as much as they are, but that's fine. It's easy enough to adjust and fix. We just literally click on, if you just click on an item and then right click, that deletes it, and then you can actually just when you have an item selected, it will just keep regenerating them until you have what you want. So that takes us to there. So that's actually what I'm going to do with this. This is going to be partially flooded. So I'm actually going to bring, once I've done building this layer, we're going to have the water level come up to about there. And then the actual thing will be built up here. You can see, boom, there we go, and we've got sort of a sewer path going on here. But I'm going to get rid of the water for now, just to, oh, bugger. You thankfully can Control Z on this, and it will just undo something that you've done. So yeah, we're going to build, oh my god, there's a bunch of sirens going past my window today. We're going to just build another line in there, and that's going to be our kind of first sewer passage. And then what we also sort of want to have is walls coming out here. So what we want to do is we want to raise this build level up to the level of there, because that's going to match. That's going to match what we're building at the moment. And then these should just sit nicely and build out there. And voila, there we go. We've got a nicely laid out tunnel. Okay, there we go. And we're not really worried about the space underneath here, because again, this is all going to be flooded, and you won't really see much of this. So I want to build, this is going to be kind of like our entry point into the sewer down this way. So at this point, we're going to add a we're going to add a corner in there and a second corner in there. Drop those two in together. We're going to just build a line going across there. And another cool elements that you can add is things like these grates here. So we're going to have this grate coming there, and then we're going to just plop down some basic tiles, so that we have a bit of a landing area for where our players come into the sewers, and they can come out and they can start kind of exploring. So that's the sort of starting grounds that we're going to be building from. So the next thing to do will be to kind of plot out a bit of a route through. So I think let's get to there, and then let's go down this way a little bit. And we will okay, here we go. So this is what we want here, is something like this. So the only thing I will say here is I don't think there's like a reverse corner, which is a bit of a shame that they didn't put in something that was like more of a reverse corner. Let's see what do these offer. Oh no, look, there we go. We've got a reverse corner there. That's handy. No, it's that's more of a cap, isn't it? Let's see. Do we have anything better? No, that's just a reverse corner. That's just the cap without a thing. So there are some limitations. It is still in development, so I will forgive most of these things. So let's have a look at what we can do. So I want a cap. There. Okay, so that's how we're going to build in a corner. So that's going to be the best way I think we can build in this corner here. And then we can start putting these back in here. And boom, there we go. That all lines up pretty nicely. And we'll just chuck a few floor tiles in to just fill in that little bit of a gap there. And we will build along to our new stopping point. And now this is obviously a 2x2 tile, but if I wanted to do that, you can see at the bottom here there's 2x2s or there's 1x1s, and we want to have a little bit of a 1x1 to finish off this line, and we can just fill in that little gap there with a little clunky tile and plot that down. If you guys have any questions as we go, I am kind of intermittently checking the Twitch chat, so feel free to plot down any messages or comments as we go, and I will do my best to respond to them as we go. But in the meantime, let me continue with this. So let's first let's plump that build level back down to the bottom, because we also want to fill in these base walls here. I don't think I want another staircase here, because I think what I want is this thing, which is to go... Is that too big? Oh, that's way too big. Yeah, no, we don't want that. So we definitely want the 2x1, but we want this 2x1, because there's different ones that have... there's ones that have the floor tile underneath, and there's the ones that don't. And you kind of just have to sometimes play around and work out which ones you actually want to make use of. So this is the point where we would want this one, because we're going to have to cap this again. So, and again, we want the capping that does not have a floor tile on it. And then we want to have that, so that kind of goes down there, and then this will follow along at the bottom. And there we go, that's our next structure of the sewer done. And this we also want to bring to come around as well. So let's go ahead and bring this out, and we will, and rather than clicking and dragging this, I'm going to just click and drop, because I want to make sure that I maintain that oh, those are the wrong ones. I was thinking, why is the height different on that? It's because I used the tall thing there. Really, I don't want to use that. I want to use this lower one. And plonk those down. Now, I want the corner to come up here. So let's go ahead and plop down our corner piece so that we've got it securely in place, and that way I can quite confidently just chuck that in there, and then as we go back around, we are going to, that's the wrong one, that's the tall one again. There we go. Okay, so this is going to go across to match up here, and once more just a single unit to be plopped down there. Now I will actually remove this one, because I would like to maybe chuck in another, I don't want that one, I want that one, because I want to have two ladder accesses, so there's kind of like places that people could climb up and down and get across to the other side, or an easy way for people to get out if they fall into the sewer. Just part of a good, just part of a good battle map design, I think. Alright, so we've got that. Let us go and shift this back up to there, which is, I believe, oh no, that's a bit low. That's what we want, so that we can build the outside of this as well. So we want here to build and we want to add our corner piece there, and in fact, actually no, we probably want our corner piece there, and we're just going to have a standard single tile piece going there. And then we can fill in the rest. To there. Now that is not quite right, is it? No, we should have moved these back. Okay, let's undo all this. I believe that you can actually just grab a huge chunk in one go and delete just by dragging, selecting, and deleting. But I much prefer having a bit more control over this stuff. So let's just go and drop those in there, and this will. Yeah, this is much more like what I wanted. And we also need to fill in a little edge piece there. And then from that, we can fill in these floor tiles. And just going to chuck those in there and those down there. So you can see we're like already this kind of looks really great, and I love just the visuals of this system. So what I want this to open out into now is I'm going to build like a square room. But it's going to have the sewer trail kind of going through. So what I want to do first, I think, to make it look right, is to kind of plot in my little route for the sewer. So let's go ahead and drop, because I have an idea of what I want this to look like already. So I'm just going to quickly jump over to there. Nope, still nothing in the Twitch chat, so that's fine. Like, I'm not. You don't need to put something in the chat if you don't want to. It's just more so that I'm keeping tabs on what's going on. In fact, actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that chunk out. I'm going to put in a double chunk in. Let's raise that back up a bit. I had an idea. So we need an access ladder into the sewers. Of course we do. Ooh, why did that do that? Not sure. Alright, there we go. There we go. There we go. We have an access ladder into the sewers. Of course we do. Of course we need that. That's vital. So, I'm just gonna put this on. Apologies if you can hear some rattling going on. I am actually roasting right now. I always end up roasting when I'm sitting here doing these streams. I'm not sure why. So I'm just going to put my fan on for a bit to cool down. So we want to plot out this kind of track that the sewer water is going to go on. So I think the best thing to do would be to kind of just mark the outer wall first. So we want this wall here. So it's good. That's no good. Okay, first of all, we want to go down to basement level so that we have the maneuverability that we need. So we want to come out like this. And once again, not perfect. Not perfect because I would rather have a corner that goes like the other way, but they don't really seem to kind of accommodate that very well. As I said, this is a system that is still in development, and so, you know, certain things you kind of just have to forgive for what they do. Alright, so I'm going to build that out to, let's build that out to there, and that way we've got that kind of starting out. So that went out 8 squares because it did, as you could see, and we'll just do the same the other way because we want to build a perfect square here. So we're going to build that there, then we're going to chuck in that corner there, and then a corner going that way, and we're going to build this out 8 squares to there, and then again cornering these off. Oops. The one thing I always forget is that right click is the one that drags and left click is the one that places. So if you that's in the wrong place. There we go. So if you if you want your piece to your thing to make sense, you've got to remember to do that properly. So the next thing we want to do is just going to measure. So this is our little measuring tool here. So you click this little ruler, or you can press M, and then you can do a radius You can do a line, or you can do a cone of effect, which is really cool. Typically, cone effects in D&D are 60 degree cones, so you can do like breath weapons and things like burning hands with that. But I want to do just a quick ruler, because I want to work out what our actual size is here. So let's go ahead and just drag that across from there to there. So we're looking at, this is like 105 feet across, which is, for one, makes me think I've miscounted. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that way, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that way. Okay, no, we haven't miscounted. So the next thing, so this is going to go across this way, and again it's the wrong tile because I keep forgetting I don't want the bases on here, and so we want to get 10 going there, I think. Oh no, we want to go more because we want to get all of that. So we want to go 20. So let's do another 10, and then we can chuck another corner in there. Now I know this looks like a very huge map, but there is going to be different elements to this. So, and then this should go straight across by 20 as well to there, and that should, if I've done my maths right, should line up when I drag this down to there. There we go. Boom, look at that. Amazing. Okay, so the next thing will be to do the inside. Now, of course, this is going to be a bit less perfect because we don't have the proper corner pieces for the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this one down. I'm going to drop in the corner pieces first, I think. And then build between them. Because I feel... Because I know that I want this whole thing to be like 10 feet apart. Yeah, that's it there. Yeah, I want this whole sewer line where all the water is going to be about 10 feet apart. So let's go ahead and chuck in. Let's go ahead and chuck in a staircase right here. And also, let's go ahead and remove these and do the same again there. Just give a bit of access to these. And just going to go and drag and just fill in the rest of the spaces to create our lower level of this here sewer. And it's pretty straightforward doing this, right? This is all very simple. It's literally just clicking, dragging, and dropping, and it just drops in all of the pieces that you need. And then boom, we've got ourselves like the lower level of our sewer right there, all perfect, all great. So let's go ahead and chuck in our we're going to go and raise this up to the next build level, which will be oh, that's way too high. I was looking at it at a weird angle. That will be there. So that's our next build level, and working these build levels pretty straightforward. You literally just click and drag that and it will do it. And we are going to just go ahead and do that because we want to do our next cushiony layer. So we want to have a bit of a space where our party members can actually stand and do stuff. Oop. That's what we want there, and we're going to do the same on the inside here. In fact, actually, we can always just fill in this central platform because we can take stuff out and change stuff around as we go. But there's not going to be any more water on the inside there. What I will do is right here in the center, I will take out these bits, and I will plop in another little drain just because aesthetics. But I'm actually going to build a bit of a structure on here. In fact, let's do that now. Let's go ahead and do that. Of course, you can also just do a thing like this. So these are 3 apart. So we're going to go here. You can also build it this way. And just have the backs of pieces showing, because the backs of pieces also kind of look really cool. So let's go ahead and do that for this little central bit here. And just going to fill in the walls. So we're going to have in fact, actually, I want to make this very tight. So what we're going to do, I'm going to bring that in there, I'm going to bring that in there. And what we got? So 1, 2. So we're going to just add. Okay, now that I've got that plan, I'm just going to go ahead and add these bits of wall here. And then we're going to add our little corner pieces to each area. I'm going to do the same. It's there, and 2 there. And we're actually going to so this is not actually quite center, is it? So let's go ahead and remove those. I'm going to chuck that in there, and then put that there, because that's actually where the center should be. And then we're going to plop that in there. And oh, no, we don't want that one, we want that one. This gets a little bit fiddly as you try to build in certain pieces, but it's not. It's still pretty straightforward. You just have, once you start getting to these kind of like tighter spaces, you have to sometimes find the sweet spot where it will drop in where you want it to drop in, but it's not overly difficult to do so. And just to kind of cap it off, because I don't want any players actually going up on the inside of these bits, we are just going to chuck in a boom. Oh, no, that's not right. That's a bit low. I'm going to do that. I have a message come through. Okay, no, that's fine. That's nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. And boom, 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 boom. And just fill those in. And that is that. So that we can drop that grid back down to the level that we want it at, which is there. So this is kind of like our little sewer. So there would be like, like we could put a roof on this if we wanted to, but we want to be able to at least see around things. Okay, so let's go in and just finish up these little walls. So we are currently slightly too high. Because we do want these ones with the base. Okay, no, this is, so we want actually this corner to go in here then, and again here, which means we also want to take this one out and replace it with this one, because we want that to come all the way out to there, and then we want a corner there. And this one's going to come all the way out to there, and we're going to have a corner there. And then let's go ahead and just chunk in these walls real quick. And so obviously this is a tool that is for filling in bigger areas of spaces, and we can go in and we can fit in okay, that was awful. Should pay attention to where I'm placing these really. There we go, that's better. And ooh, that is, I believe that's just done something weird. Okay, not sure really what happened there. Let's go ahead and just chuck that into, oh, okay, come on. That's what we want. Let's do this properly. Okay, not sure what's going on with that. It's being a bit weird. And also, like, you could do things like this and have like tunnels and stuff, which is, which I really like that as well. Like, you could have like a sewer tunnel come off of this, and you could send that off. But I'm not doing that on this map. Why is this not working? This is actually very frustrating. Okay, I'm going to come back to that bit and see if I can make that work, but that's, yeah, no, so it can happen. I'm not sure why it doesn't want to on this one, so maybe we'll do a different tool. There we go. And then we can just plot these down to fill in the floor. There. And then we have this guy in there, and in there, and we can check those in, and boom, there we go. We have our battle map. set up there. So now I can put in that water level, make it all look super effective. Oh, forgot to put these in. We can make our whole map look pretty cool with this water effect. So if you want to like make it like you can do stuff, do what you want to kind of like fill in a bit more of a space so that it's not just you're not just seeing water everywhere. And only seeing water where you want to. And that's completely possible as well. Like so. At least then, when you're zoomed in and playing, you don't just have this massive water plane. Not that that's like a major issue, but like if you wanted water in just a select part of this map, then there are options to help you do that. There we go. So that, at least then when we're zoomed in and playing, for the most part, it does. You don't just have this huge water plane just sticking around. So that is the build. So let's go ahead and fill in some decorative things. So we can put in some containers, but I don't think there's really much in containers that we want to put down here. You've got, so there's camping stuff, there is crafting stuff, there are fences, there is food and drink for decoration, decorative food and drinks, there is furniture, there are grim pieces of things. You can have like dead bodies and stuff like that. If you want them, or just big piles of bones. You can also do things like dungeon manacles and prisoner cages and things like that. There's all sorts of really cool stuff. You have a number of ladders that you can make use of. There are actual lighting things here, and this is one thing that I really love. So let's I'm going to change the atmosphere so that we have it at like a nighttime, right? And then we're just going to put a street lamp down here. Oh, that didn't seem to do it. Okay, so let's try one of these because I know these work. And look at that. It partially lights up. Not a massive amount, like it's not a major light sources, but it's kind of cool. I really like that they have these kind of like light sources. What we're going to do, and I will show you later, because I will have this set in darkness. This is a sewer after all. There's not really much light that comes down into the sewer. We've got miscellaneous exterior, miscellaneous interior, which does actually have pipes and stuff. So we could maybe like just add some pipes in there, but I don't think pipes are really appropriate for this kind of sewer system. But there's a bunch of really cool miscellaneous stuff there. There is nature effects like trees and stuff like that. There is signage, and then there are traps and treasures that you can go to fill in. There's not really much that you can add for a sewer, but to be fair, I don't think we need any kind of decorative things in here. What we do need is some monsters and some creatures. What in the ever-loving heck is this? I have no idea. So that's a crow. Is that a... There's a bunch of really crazy stuff in here. So let's have a look through all these kind of critters and characters to see what we can put down in our sewer. So like you could have, like rats are obviously quite a common thing that you might find in the sewer, so you could plop some rats down. But in all fairness, I am not actually looking to do that. Now here's the thing with the miniatures. If you want to remove a miniature, you can't do it in build mode. You've actually got to come out of build mode and then select the critter. And this is how you kind of like play with them, is you can move them around. But you want to just right click, kill creature, kill, and then right click, kill creature, kill. So yeah, you don't particularly want to be doing this. You can have alligators in your sewer and have them like under the water. We have a number of constructs, including like a clay golem. I have no idea what this is meant to be. That doesn't look like a construct to me. There's a scarecrow, and then there's this weird ooze wielding a hammer. I might use that as like a spiritual weapon or something in a game. We do have an imp. We have a few dragonborn. We have a number of dwarves. We have some elementals, which are kind of fun. We've got a number of elves. We have some fey creatures, including tree ants, which again, not really fey, but this is not necessarily a D&D specific thing. Little mushroom people. There's pixies. I also love like that pixie is straight up. Look at that. That pixie is straight up flying. But you can see where the base is, but the pixie is straight up flying. And you can actually even make them fly. And they have like a little animation when they fly. But we don't want pixies in this sewer. There are giants. We have an Etin, which is kind of cool. We've also got a storm giant, which is really cool. Have a number of gnomes. We have a number of goblins. We have some tieflings. We have a number of different tieflings. We also have a number of half-orcs and a number of halflings, and then a huge number of humans. There are so many humans in this. And some humanoids, which, what's this one? Not sure what that one's meant to be. Got like a little jester guy. Who's that? That's a... That one looks strange. You got like a kind of... Something to be like a fish person or a thing. Got like a tabaxi type character there. Or another tabaxi there. We've got these ones which are like fish people, I guess. This is this looks like a bollywog. We've got rat folk, or a were rat. We've got the I forget what the Coatoa. We've got a minotaur. These guys, which I've been using as lizard folk. I don't know if they're meant to be lizard folk, but that's what they look like to me. We've got a kenku you can make use of. There is also a couple of kobolds. There is whatever on earth this lady is meant to be. I'm actually not entirely sure. That looks like a hag to me of some kind. We've got a nice big furbolg. We've got a gnoll. In fact, actually, we have two different types of gnoll. Humanoids have got some really great stuff. We've got some monstrosities here. Also, there's like a bullet. That looks like a troll to me. Looks like a werewolf. That's a... oh, is that like a sturge, maybe? It's maybe a sturge. Then we have like an ooze. And one of the wonderful things they're going to be doing in this is they're going to give you kind of colorization on them, so you can add color to them later. That looks like a shambling mound to me. That might be the one I use for the monster I'm putting in here, because there won't be a proper one for the one I'm putting in here. Got like a yeti. Ooh, what's that? That looks nasty. I actually kind of like that. I might use that one instead. We've got ourselves like a little manticore. Just got a straight up tentacles, which are kind of fun to put like under the water. We've got a gargoyle. We've got a dragon. One thing I'll show you with the dragon, because this is kind of fun, is so you can plop the dragon down there. You don't actually have to be in build mode to put minis down. So we put the dragon down there. Okay, so we've got the dragon here. However, this is a dragon that fits on a 1x1 square. So this is a wormling, right? That's what this is meant to be, a wormling. However, if you go into, if you right click on the mini, you have a few different things you can do. First of all, you can get them to emote. You can give them a little wiggle. You can give them a little twirl. You can make them look surprised. You can add a torch effect, which gives them a little bit of a light. You can hide them. I actually don't know how to get them back when you hide them. There is an instruction in the tutorial I'll need to check out. You can make it fly, which for a dragon is very cool. You can also do like a HP thing here, and those you can literally just type in and reset them. But when they take damage, You literally just drag it down, so it takes 5 points of damage, boom, there he goes, lost 5 hit points. Drag it back up, there he goes, gained 5 hit points. But under GM tools, you can give player permission, you can rename the mini, you can make it unique, which I have no idea what that actually does. I've not seen it do anything, I don't know what it's going to do, but this is the cool one, set size. So we have a 1x1 dragon, that's a wormling, right? So this is a young dragon. And then if we set this to that's an adult dragon. And then set the size again, and that there is, that's an ancient dragon right there. 4x4, an ancient dragon. You get a real sense of scale, which I really love. But I'm not using a dragon right now. I just wanted to show that off. There's a roper, which is kind of fun. Ropers are a lot of fun. They're very crazy, scary creatures. We have a Chimera, which are really fun. That is I believe that's like a carrion caller. I may be wrong about that. We've got, I don't know what this is meant to be. I don't know what that's meant to be, but it looks freaky. And then there's a number of Yuan-Ti as well. We've got a number of these kind of Yuan-Tis. And then we have a very favourite, one of our favourites, the Mimic. And there's also a Mimic which is a gift-wrapped present, which I find very funny. We have a number of Orc minis available to us, because Orcs are very popular bad guys. And we have a number of undead, including Skeleton Archer, Skeleton Warrior, I think it's meant to be Skeleton Wizard, Skeleton Spearman, a ghostly figure, I think this is meant to be like a wraith maybe, and then this is meant to be like an actual ghost. This is like an animated armor type deal, but it's under undead. We have a ghoul, we have a couple of zombies, including a mummy, a zombie and a mummy, and we've got a lich, and we've got, I don't know what this is meant to be, maybe it's another type of lich, and we have a vampire. So we've got a few different kind of options here. So for the actual monster that I'm going to put down here, I feel like this is the most appropriate one. Which is very creepy to say that and to think that that would be a suitable monster for what I have planned. So the question is, what size is this meant to be? Because I forget which size this one is. I have a feeling this is meant to be a large creature. Okay, so let's go. I thankfully have everything just in a convenient place. So just go into my notes. It's that thing. And this is, yes, this is a large. Okay, so we'll downsize this thing a little bit. We will downsize this thing a little bit to make it a bit less ridiculous. So we want this to be on a 2x2. So that's a bit more realistic there. Okay, so this will be... and this I'm actually thinking I might put like... start it off like down under the water. Great. I didn't actually want dice, I don't know why that rolled. Okay, so we've got like a little monster in there. And then let's go ahead and put in a hero, because in fact, actually, let's move the monster to a place where we can actually see them when they're not underwater. So let's go ahead and put in a hero. So we'll just go under the human one for now, because humans have just like a wide range of things. So first thing we want to do, I'm going to make it dark, and I'm going to select our hero and enable torch. And oh boy, does, like, it's still dark, but you can look at the atmosphere on that. Look at that. So this guy's going to fight this thing, and so you do your thing that you normally would do, and you when you want to fight something, and you say, oh, I'm going to have my character attack this thing, and you can actually right click on the monster you want to attack, select attacks and attack, and it does a little animation to show an attack, which is freaking awesome. I love that. But let's, for example, say we don't have that kind of hero. Say instead we have a wizard. And the wizard's not going to make an attack with a weapon. Just shift that round. He's going to make an attack with a spell. So we instead go to attack, magic missile, and look at that stuff. I can honestly watch that all day. And it doesn't matter where you are. Like, you can be way on the other side. We're going to make an attack with a magic missile, and it goes the whole distance. We put it in daylight, and it does the same thing again. Like, I love this so much. So that is sort of the kind of basics there of how to build up a map. And like, this is, so we built this, and this is pretty much all on one plane, except for obviously there is a lower section under the water. There's not really a huge amount there, right? But if you wanted, you can build in stuff like we could have a staircase that goes up you know, we could have a staircase that goes up onto the higher floors, which then you could have your character go up the staircase onto a higher level. So you could actually build houses that are in like multiple floors, for example. You can also put in sections. For example, if instead of so if we had, say, put that in like that, we could put in a nice creepy doorway. And that is one thing that is a little bit annoying, is if you are in build mode and you don't click exactly on that little tiny little symbol, then it will just select something. But we're not in build mode. Here we are, we're in adventure mode, and our wizard wants to go and run into this little room. So you just right click on the door, select open, and boom, the door opens, and he's just going to close the door behind him. Boom, it closes, and he's inside this area here. Now, I'm not going to do that for the sewer here, but that's just a demonstration of another little thing that you can do. in this system, which is super cool. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to kind of show you guys. There are other things. So as I said, if you right click on these things, you can see the different emotes and the different stats and things like that that you could get. So you could maybe use this to keep track of spell slots and stuff like that. You can turn the torch effects on and off. I will just have a quick look because there is a tutorial whilst playing of hiding and revealing minis. Here we go. So do that, click to hide. Okay, so for example, I can hide this mini, and I can go into my Games Master's overlay, which in order to do so, I need to click on something, but I forget what I click on to do that. Unique creatures. Oh, there we go. You can add, when you add a unique creature, we go into there. Okay, so how do I get into the Games Master's overlay? Well, let's have a look at that. Tutorial, Games Master's overlay, overview. Okay, so you press Tab, and boom, you go into the Games Master's overlay, and you click Reveal, and press Tab again, and we go out of the Game Master's overlay, and boom, we can do that. So like, this is another little tool that you guys can use that will help you to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that one. I'm going to remove him because I don't want him actually in this map. And I'm going to save this for my next gaming session because, or one of my next gaming sessions, because this is going to be one of the maps that we play through. But yeah, that is pretty much the kind of long and short of this. So the great things about this system, it looks amazing. It absolutely looks amazing, and there's so much kind of freedom and customizability. And bearing in mind that this is still in development, like this, it's at this point now, but they're going to keep adding stuff and changing stuff and making this better. I'm really excited for when they start releasing different asset packs for like Cyberpunk and stuff like that, because I really want to run a Shadowrun game using this system. It looks really great. There's a lot of options for building stuff, and in play, everything kind of works really nicely. And as you see, like if you zoom in on the water, you can see there's like a little bit of movement in the water. And if you go underneath, you get like a little watery effect, including the sound, which is really nice. There's a lot of these just like really nice little touches that I really like. Let's just raise that water level up just a touch more. Like these are the things that I really like. Things that and you can just playing around with these sort of effects. Like I could just do that to just kind of maybe make the water look a little bit grosser, or yeah, there we go. If we put greens in, just turn up the green a little bit. There you go. That makes that water look a little bit grosser. So you can really just kind of play around with a lot of different things in this, and there are just so many options to go with. The minis that they have there's loads, so you kind of shouldn't run out, but there is a break that you can do which will allow you to import minis from Hero Forge, which is also really handy. I haven't done that yet because that is a bit complicated to do that little break. I think eventually they want to program it into the thing itself, but for the time being, you've got to do a whole kind of thing to do that. There are so many options. You can really make your battle maps look and feel perfect for whatever you want to do. You can still do a top-down view if you want, but the fact that you can do these kind of like three-dimensional views and have a better view of like positioning and lines of sight and stuff like that, I really love it. The major downsides on this, the big one is just the way it's sold, because as of yet, there is still not an option. There is not an option where the GM could own this, set up their battle maps, and just have the players join. Which is annoying because it does mean that in order to get the best effect out of this, every single person in the game has to buy a copy. I would personally say I think it's worth it, but at the end of the day, you can't just tell people they need to buy this in order to play in your games. That's not right, and it's not fair. So, yeah, not a big fan of that particular element of it. I believe at some point it is something they are considering, as they have had a lot of people bring this up based on their FAQ. So it looks like that is going to be a thing at some point, but for now it's not. I ran this through a screen share, doing a screen share on Zoom, which it worked okay. But the problem is, unless the people you're playing with have access to an actually half decent computer that can cope with that, one of my players had a kind of real issue with the frame rate as I was moving stuff around, because their device just couldn't handle this. So it is at the moment a kind of a very cool thing, but it's a little bit of a niche, and it needs to be made more accessible. That I think is the kind of big issue here is it needs to be more accessible. That being said, I do want to keep using it. Eventually, I would love to have the opportunity to move a campaign into this exclusively, because I just think the fact that you can do this three-dimensional stuff really just makes the whole thing worth it. But that's more or less the kind of long and short of everything. So if you guys do have any questions about it, I can see Arian's Belstar saying, yeah, it looks awesome. I mean, yeah, it does. That's the thing, is this truly does look awesome. I really, really love the way it looks, which is why I want to keep using it. As they kind of introduce new spell effects, I would love to see more than just the magic missile, but the magic missile is still pretty cool, and I will use it for any time my players cast spells on my monsters, because honestly, I just love that little animation. I think it looks awesome. But if you guys have any questions about it or anything like that, please feel free to drop them into the Twitch chat. Alternatively, because I am going to probably end the stream in a moment, just send me a message on Discord, or just pop something in the Discord Q&A. I will happily respond. This particular thing is currently on sale on Twitch on Steam. Currently on sale for £19.49. Which I know sounds like a random amount. I think it's because this is an American thing, and I think it's equivalent to $25 or something like that. But it's currently on for $19.95, and you can build really intricate stuff on it, and they will look amazing. Go and check it out if you want to see for yourself what this can potentially do for you and your games. But in the meantime, I will still probably be running a lot of my stuff through Roll20 until this can be a bit more accessible to my players. But once the accessibility on this thing gets better, 100% I am moving games over to this when it becomes more accessible, because it just looks great, it feels great, it works great. Most of the clunkiness I feel just comes from just learning to use it, and also the fact that it's still in development. But you can do so much. I love it. Anyways, I'm going to stop rambling and let everyone get on with their days. Thank you for tuning in, those who did. If anyone is new and is watching this stream not knowing who we are Wayfarers League, and you can find us at wayfarersleague.com. We have a wonderful community of role players, and there are new games coming up every single month, so come check us out. But until next time, everyone,